I'm a specialist quality control in microbiology. So, wherein we deal with all the different products, mainly syringes or the injections or the
Okay.
vials products that we get. So,
Yes, yes,
we
yes.
deal with biologics, wherein this part of AstraZeneca is highly funded. So, basically, after Uppsala University, I started to work in small startups, which were actually based on life science and treating and diagnosing different illnesses. I'm happy to say that one of the new technologies that I was a part in was called as non-invasive prenatal testing, wherein we are able to detect the sex of the baby and also any chromosomal abnormalities at just 10 weeks of age. I chose the 2 years is because in the 2 years you are exposed more to a lot of
Yes.
horizons
Yes.
than in a 1 year, because in a 1 year it's very fast paced. I have seen that and I have heard from people as well, and it's like you wouldn't even know the time come and go. So but in a 2 year you have a lot of new connections, and you are able to expand the way you are as a person, and also what you want to do in life. Because in my case, when I did my 2 year master's program, I was having the flexibility to either do a one whole year project, or I could continue studying the second year. It was kind of an interactive way between the professor and the student. Um, this helped us to think in a certain way that a researcher should think. There's a particular department called as Sci Life Labs. So these labs are very unique labs wherein different universities in Sweden they come together. That's the
Wow.
only time that all the universities come together. They pool all their resources, money, all the resources, and they created this lab called a Sci Life Lab, which is
Wow.
actually industry oriented but also at the same time research oriented. Europe in general has a research oriented ideology, especially Sweden, Germany. All of these countries have a very research oriented ideology, and they have a lot of funding for research in general. Also saw that Sweden in general, it is the home of Nobel Prizes. The first thing that popped up was Uppsala University for me. And we all know the great scientists who have come from Uppsala University. For example, Carl Linnaeus, the founder of all the nomenclatures in botany. Celsius, he's also from Uppsala University. First of all, Uppsala University, it's such a big university with enormous funding. And it's
Huge.
directly from the government funds. Since they have a lot of funding, again, we were able to get various complex instruments. For example, I would say we had one called as mass spectrometry. And we had so many such instruments, which are actually very expensive, millions and
Yes.
millions of dollars.
Yes. Yes.
But we were able to actually use that, and our professors actually encouraged us to use it. But at the same time, before we were directly going to use it, we were also taught about it again, so that we
Yes.
used it in the right way.
Yes.
The labs were fully fledged with each and every instrument that the student needs, be it for a master's student or for a PhD student. But it was very affordable, even though I was living in the city center. So
Super.
because I was a student, they gave us a lot of discounts. And that is
Mm.
one thing that university always does, that if you're a student, you get so many discounts on
Oh.
everything.
Hello, everybody. Welcome, all of you. My name is Shivaraman, Director of Europe Study Center. You all have been watching our channel. We have posted plenty of interviews. And today, we are going to interview our student Prahalad, who went to Sweden, studied life sciences, and currently working in Sweden. So, Prahalad, welcome to the show, Prahalad.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me.
Wonderful. And in between your schedules to allot time for us and to create this awareness video, thank you so much once again. So, Prahalad, please introduce yourself to our audience.
My name is Narayan Prahalad, and I'm from Mysore. I did my education solely in Mysore. So I had done my preschooling and schooling in Mysore city. After that, I completed my 11th and 12th standard in Bangalore in St. Aloysius. PU College, I did mainly focused on biology. And after that, I did an integrated master's course, which was a combination of bachelor's and master's together for 5 years, which had a wide range of life sciences topics. And this helped us to gain more knowledge and experience in the different frontiers of life sciences. So this was my initial step in my destination to become a life science enthusiast and also to work in the field of biotechnology. Yes, and currently I am placed in Sweden working for AstraZeneca.
Wonderful, wonderful. You did your master's in? Yeah.
I did my master's in molecular biology. It was an integrated master's course, and it was for 5 years.
Okay, you did the
Yes.
integrated master's for 5 years.
Yes, it was a combination of bachelor's and master's together, so there was no separate bachelor's course. And this was in Mysore University, so they had it just introduced this course, and I was one of the very first students to take up this course.
You
So that
did,
was like
yeah. So you did the last 2 years in Uppsala.
yes, so that I did my second master's in Uppsala University, and
Okay.
currently I have like two master's degrees.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So
Super. Now I
yes.
understand. Just for the audience to have a good clarity, that's why I asked this question.
Mhm.
So
Okay.
before we go through your life journey and finally talk about your professional life right now, when
Mhm.
did you start to develop your interest towards life sciences?
So it was actually during my childhood days that I always was fascinated with nature and the complexity of nature around us. For
Okay.
example, plants, insects, and
Wow.
animals around us. So
Wow.
I used to ask my mother always, like, why is this in a certain way? Why does a flower bloom only in this time and not at this time? So I had certain curiosities from a very early childhood. And my mother was one of the main motivators for me to take up biology. And
Excellent.
from there on, I started to develop more and more interest in biology, in life sciences. And when I started to do my master's program, I developed a very particular interest in microbiology, studying
Wow.
the microbial world around us, because that is like an own universe in its own. We underestimate how important our microbial world is in our own body and around us. So this
Yes.
was something that actually interested me, and therefore I started to take up more and more of this in my master's program. And when I came to Uppsala University, I chose another master's in microbiology and immunology. So that is why I have this interest for life science, and that is when I developed this interest.
Amazing.
Yes,
What a beautiful explanation from your heart directly. And by the way, all life science enthusiasts, please get into this domain only when you are deeply interested. Only when you can keep working without looking at your watch. Okay.
exactly.
Only for those people, with your permission, I say this only for those people, please get into life sciences. Complete interest,
Absolutely.
complete dedication is required. Otherwise, please
Absolutely.
don't complain biotechnology and life sciences later. Okay. And
Absolutely.
one question that I wanted to ask you, it could be a little tricky also. Did you ever feel like, you should have taken a 4 year biotechnology degree and then did a 2 year master's followed up with, or what did you feel?
Actually, that's a very valid question. I had these thoughts before I went into my 5 year master's program. There were a lot of questions that were going on, whether I should have taken BTech, MTech, or because I had done a master's in science, which is different. But later on, when I started to talk to people around me, I noticed that I wanted to go into research field more. And also at the same time, I felt that this master's program, the master's in science that I did in India, that and the master's in science that I did in Uppsala University, that was kind of uh, aligning with my goals of research
Okay.
because I would love to put in a lot of work into research work, and this was actually helping me in that direction. So
Wonderful. So,
yes,
so the extra time actually took you closer towards what you wanted.
exactly, absolutely,
because because
yeah,
exceptional cases like yours there are always there, but our ideology is always we never suggest students to take up an integrated master's course always.
exactly,
You finish this because see, 5 years is a pretty long time, especially with the
exactly,
current technological revolution. Okay, Prahalad,
yeah,
what we practiced yesterday, today it's vanished. So
exactly, it's
that's
different.
how it is. So, at
Yeah.
what moment you decided you will have to do your second master's?
So once I completed my first master's in 2017, I was working for a short time in some institutes like National Institute of Technology in Rourkela, and I took a year break just to know what I want to do further.
Okay.
Because at that time I was a bit of confused whether I want to go into this particular field or in another one. But then I realized that I wanted to actually focus my entire energy into research.
This
And that's when I decided that moving abroad gave me another opportunity to focus my entire goal there. So
super
that's when I decided, no, I want to do another master's program.
master.
And to do a master's program in Sweden was one of my priorities.
Excellent. The people watching this interview, as well as myself, because even though I know the answer, they will be curious enough to ask Prahlad, why you didn't opt for a PhD, you know,
Yes.
abroad, rather than, going for a second master's. I know the reason, but I want you to tell to the audience
Uh,
why.
Many people told me the same thing when I was in India. Why do you want to do a second master's? Why don't you do a direct PhD? But I would say that basically the way we have education in India is totally different from the way it is taught abroad. I know that it is a bit challenging when I say this, but in India it is more merit based, and it is more like you just learn and you go and write the exam, and that's how it goes. But when I did my master's in Sweden, it was more to do with thinking. It was like you were given research papers to actually study and to solve problems. The professors used to give us problems to solve. So in that way, you were made to develop that thinking of finding answers, or at least coming close to finding an answer. So that actually helped me to think in a particular direction, or if
Exactly.
I'm given a problem, how I'm supposed to think. So
Exactly.
that is why I felt that, and this is something that many people told me, that abroad masters is totally different. So I think it's worth giving it a shot. So that's why I decided I should do another masters abroad.
Wonderful, wonderful. See, the ideology of accepting the reality, okay,
Yes.
and you how you made up your mind that
Yeah.
fine, I'm not, I may not be able to get into a funded PhD in a European Schengen country. So what?
Yes.
I will take the extra mile, do the masters, and that's why,
Exactly.
like, you are now working in a world-renowned company. For example, anyway, we'll talk about AstraZeneca later, but anybody knows about AstraZeneca. All these efforts, the long
Exactly.
hours you spent and worked hard, and even though there were a lot of people around you making a lot of noises, why don't you do this? Why don't you do that?
Yeah.
I guess Prahalad, just all these are just disturbances. I go in my mission. I guess you got great support from your parents too. Yeah.
Absolutely. It is because it's like you hear all these noises around you, but ultimately you have to take that decision. Okay, and you need to stick with that decision. I am going with this.
Super. The problem with the problem with education is, it's a common topic. Okay,
Yes,
anybody can say anything, and they all have an opinion.
exactly.
This is the biggest problem in uh, education, basically. So
Exactly.
next, I wanted to ask you a question: how beautifully you choose Europe as a study destination, and especially how did you choose Sweden for your masters, second masters especially? It's a beautiful choice. By the way, I also studied in Sweden, and I know the focus that they give for life sciences. So,
Absolutely.
please talk about it.
Yes. So basically, initially before I thought about Europe, many people were saying, go for US or Canada or Australia, because that is more like,
Yeah,
they felt that was. But then I started to do my own research and found that Europe in general has a research-oriented ideology, especially Sweden, Germany. All of these countries have a very research oriented ideology, and they have a lot of funding for research in general.
exactly.
So that is why I was like, okay, I want to do something in life science and I want to do something research based. So that's when I started to find that Europe had that attraction. And also saw that Sweden in general, it is the home of Nobel Prizes. So, that is something that motivated me. And I felt that okay, let me start to see what I can do in Sweden and what are the universities that are there in Sweden. The first thing that popped up was Uppsala University for me. And we all know the great scientists who have come from Uppsala University. For example, Carl Linnaeus, the founder of all the nomenclatures in botany. Celsius, he's also from Uppsala University. So that is why I started to think, okay, Uppsala is my number one target. And I also had a few of these other universities that were there for me, but I always kept Uppsala as my number one. So
Excellent.
that's how I actually came to Uppsala, and I'm very happy for that.
Such a wise, calm, relaxed,
Yes,
beautiful decision. I would like
yes,
to tell the audience in European Schengen countries only, opens up positions for your PhDs with funding. For example,
exactly.
when you go to a UK, do a 1 year
Mm.
master's, even if you
Yeah,
continue to do your PhD there, you
yeah,
have to spend money and study PhD. More than
exactly.
95%. Who will, brother, who will spend tuition fees and study PhD? I don't get it still.
No, it
And
is not. It is not possible.
yeah, same applies to US. Only few
Yes,
people get PhD funding, not everybody. But whereas here, currently in Europe, Prahalad, hundreds of my students are currently doing their PhDs with funding.
yes,
It's beautiful.
yes,
As you rightly pointed out, they are a research-oriented, countries and universities. Plus, their focus is not making money.
no,
Uppsala University is not run for making money. Uppsala University is run for research and innovation and solving global problems,
exactly.
especially with
And
reference to life sciences. And I would like to tell you a short my connect with Uppsala University. I had to present a paper there. So
oh,
during those times, I'm talking about 2007 or 2008, not Google Maps and all those things was not so very convenient, or
oh,
I don't know why I did not use at that point. I got down from the station. I just
mm-hmm.
asked somebody, where is Uppsala University? They started slightly laughing. Then I asked them, what happened? The entire city is university. In between, we have our houses.
Yes,
that is that
that's
is
true.
that's that. And then I had to go to that Max Planck physics department. Then he
Mhm.
just told me the route. And for it's so easy to just look at the website and see
Yeah.
life sciences alone, Prahalad, hundreds of programs they have given, which is,
Exactly.
and whenever,
It is so amazing that they have so many different detailed programs, and their main focus is also to nurture the talent. That is
exactly.
what I have felt personally. Because whenever I talk to professors or anyone, they are very supportive. They always want you to do the best thing that you can. That is why I felt so connected with Uppsala University there.
100%. Amazing universities. We have
Yes.
great students who studied there, doing their research or like you working. It's really,
Mm.
really,
Yeah.
amazing. And
Yeah.
now we will have to discuss about your journey into Uppsala University, especially the first semester. After
Yes.
studying for 5 years, your degree, UG, PG
Mm.
combined. And when you started your first semester, you would have felt a world of difference in the ideology, learning pattern, examination pattern, and of course, the professors' audacity and the
Yes.
knowledge and the confidence. So,
Yes.
from a life science perspective, student, talk to
Mm.
us about the differences, the humongous differences that you felt,
Yes.
especially during your first semester.
So, when I started my first semester in Uppsala University, it was initially, I would say personally, it was like a cultural shock as well. Coming from India to Uppsala, the way the students are, I'm going to take you through each and every detail. So, first of all, the students, it was so different, the way they are, the way they talk to you. It's very different. And so it took some time for me to actually understand how they think and how we are supposed to respond as well, because as Indians, we respond in a very different way to how Swedish people respond to.
Yes, yes,
So
yes.
I need to learn the Swedish way. That's the first thing. And then I started to learn that, okay, so we need to respond in a certain way to them. Then my first semester was very different, going into these huge classrooms with so much of technology in the classroom. I have never, personally, I have never seen it, so I was amazed by all of this technology they have in the classroom. And then comes the professor, seeing them for the first time. I was so excited. So, and then they start to teach, and when they start teaching, it was a bit different from what I had felt in India. They didn't have like a standard textbook or no standard a way of teaching. They just went with the current trends in research. They wanted the students to see what the current research organization is. They did not. They said to us in the very beginning, that we do not want to stick to any standard textbooks. And that's when they started to teach about new innovations, how we can improve the new innovations, and especially in the field of life science. I would say that it is, since it's purely research based, we were taught from research papers actually. For
Super.
example, the ones that were accepted in high-end journals like Cell and Science, and these are high-end journals. So that is when they started to teach us from that. And as it was going on, we were given certain assignments, which was again research based. So they used to give us certain problems. For example, they used to say that this is currently a problem in our research, and we are trying to figure this out, but we are not close to an answer. I think this should be an assignment to you. So, and they used to
Wow.
give us a bunch of research papers. And also, they said, if you find something new, always read it up. And they used to make us write certain articles. So that way, we were also taught to write articles which could be published for journals. And it was kind of an interactive way between the professor and the student. Um, this helped us to think in a certain way that a researcher should think, not
Big, yeah.
just in a very unique. We need to think in different directions. So this was kind of initially took some time for me to get used to that system. But once I was in the groove, I was like, okay, I am really up for it. And from there on, it started kicking on, one after another. And we started to speak to a lot of professors, and they used to give us a lot of ideas. And they always welcomed us any time of the day. So that is something that was very nice. In the first semester, I was like, okay, this is very
Okay.
beautiful. Yeah.
Super. And you are like you would have been more happy, when life certain options and decisions when you make, and
Yes.
it takes you to a different level, and it pushes you across a lot of challenges. It only
Yes.
makes your mind stronger and your career grow faster. This is what I strongly
Absolutely.
believe. And let's
Yes.
see, those who enjoy benefits, brother, only those
Mm.
who face challenges,
Yes.
those who face certain uphill tasks only
Yeah.
enjoys the benefit. You always want to be
Absolutely.
safe and hold on
Yeah.
to what you have. It's like, holding an ice cube really, really tight. Actually, it's going to melt
Yeah.
faster.
Yes.
that's
Yeah,
that's
you're
that's
absolutely right.
that's how it is. That's how it is.
Yeah.
Wonderful.
Yeah, absolutely.
And these professors, especially at Uppsala or any Schengen
Yeah.
top public university, they would have dedicated their life to the subject,
Yes, indeed.
and then
It's
they
it's
would
like
spend,
for them
yeah,
that is their life.
it is their life,
Absolutely.
exactly.
Yes.
That is their life. And they constantly update themselves, and they hardly spend 3 4 hours at the university. Balance time, they are not at the university. They are into their
Yeah.
research activities and all those things.
Yeah.
It's not like a professor in here who comes along with you in the same college bus at 6 o'clock and goes back along with you in the same college bus at 6 o'clock. No, no, no.
No, no,
Not these
that's not
sort
the
of
way.
things. Yeah, because
Yeah.
see, I have no problems in telling all these things, because
Yeah.
here I am here to tell people with my 15,
Yeah.
17 years of experience, along with a
Yeah.
successful student of mine. We all are trying to find solutions, brother, without understanding what is the problem. The
Exactly.
problem is memory based education, not experienced professors
Absolutely.
and outdated syllabus. You just change this. And
Yeah.
shockingly, I was very sad when I heard this. Just 2 days before, there was
Mm.
a girl student who is passing out in the year of 2026 from a life science
Mhm.
department. 60
Okay.
children are there.
Mm.
Only she is opting for masters. Other
Oh,
59 are going and training for IT placement.
that's a sad reality.
Exactly. This is because they have no awareness or they have no lack of information. So that's why we do these sort of
Yeah.
interviews basically. So then
Yeah.
back home in India, we know it's like lectures,
Mm.
few labs, and only written examinations. 30, 40, 50 pages also we have to
Yeah.
write
Yes.
and record notes,
Exactly.
blah, blah, blah. But I know that this doesn't happen in Sweden. So
No.
how did they assess your learning aspect?
So generally, they assessed our learning aspects through assignments. When they used to give us these research questions, we have to come up with certain type of it need not be the perfect answer, but at least something close to an answer. So we were also graded on that. Apart from that, we there is always examinations as well. But in the examinations, it's not like in India where you have a question and an answer. It's not exactly like that. It's more like problem solving again. Especially, I would say when I was studying immunology, we used to have certain questions that were more problem based. And we
Okay.
needed to derive an answer from our thinking. For example, if they asked a certain question, that one question contained multiple questions, and
Mhm.
we needed to think in a way that could address the question. So again, I say it wasn't a direct question and answer type. We were also given multiple choice questions, which again we have to think before we can answer them. Apart from that, the only other one I would say was kind of interview based questions, wherein the professor used to call you in. I would say I think I enjoyed that part more because even though you were graded, but it was more like a fun based interview because the
Yeah,
professor was also very fun and kind of asking you questions. So
exactly.
I actually thoroughly enjoyed that part.
That
So
is how
it
learning
was
has to
very
be, right?
different. Exactly.
Exactly, Prahalad. That is how learning has to be. We have to
Yeah.
enjoy and do. Imagine in my own case, in this particular activity, you know,
Yeah.
doing almost close to 100 interviews. It's nobody has
Yeah.
done that in India. See, I'm like
Yeah.
deeply passionate. I want to document this, present it to the younger generation.
Yeah.
Only when you have all these passion and interest, you will do this.
Yeah.
Otherwise, just sit and promote, all these UK, very easy process, 10 days offer letter,
Yeah.
20 days visa, 2 lakhs commission. Operation success, patient, no more. That's all. That's the mission. Also, I
Yeah.
want you to say
Yeah.
why, especially life science students, should do a 2-year master degree. Many people are doing 1 year in Ireland
Mm.
and in UK
Yeah.
and plenty of other places and
Yes.
blaming biotechnology. That is what pains me. We make all mistakes and we
Yeah.
blame life science department. So please tell our audience, as a
Yes.
successful life science student working
Hmm.
in a top MNC,
Correct.
tell us, please do only 2-year masters, please.
Yeah, that's actually a wonderful question. Actually, you
Thank you.
rightly pointed out this because I have seen a lot of other friends who have done like a 1 year program. I would say the reason why I chose the 2 years is because in the 2 years you are exposed more to a lot of
Yeah.
horizons
Yes.
than in a 1 year, because in a 1 year it's very fast paced. I have seen that and I have heard from people as well, and it's like you wouldn't even know the time come and go. So, but in a 2 year, you have a lot of new connections and you are able to expand the way you are as a person and also what you want to do in life. Because in my case, when I did my 2 year master's program, I was having the flexibility to either do a one whole year project or I could continue studying the second year. And since I wanted to be in the lab, get my hands on experience, Uppsala University gave me that flexibility that, okay, I can study for 1 year and the next 1 year I could properly focus on research based. So that
Research,
is why
60
that
credits.
2 years, 60 credits,
So 60.
absolutely.
Wow. The first
So
time I
that is why
hear
I loved it.
First time in my 16 years, I hear somebody,
Yes.
doing a 60 credit master thesis. And I personally know, like, how humongous it is, we will talk about
It
it.
was a huge,
That's
it
amazing.
was actually, when they first said that, oh yeah, you can do that 6 degree, I was so
Super.
amazed and I was so happy. But I also knew that it is going to be a challenging task at the same time
Easily,
because it's a
easily,
60 credit project.
easily.
And finding a lab that could support me was also challenging because many professors, they kind of they will have to think for themselves, can I support this student as well?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
They also have a lot of PhD students, who they have to train. So, but I luckily found a professor who was willing to train me, and also he was very encouraging at the same time, because that is also one more thing I love about Swedish professors is that they don't judge you on your mistakes. They actually encourage you that okay, they encourage you that you fail and that you are able to learn from that failure. That is something that I have personally felt. So in during the project, I have failed multiple times to achieve my experimental results. But at the same
Yes.
time, my professor like, you learn from that. It doesn't matter. You learn.
You do
Yeah.
an experiment of 60 credits on the day one
Yeah.
itself. If you get the results, what's the fun? And what is the iteration?
Absolutely.
And what is the optimization? Nothing.
Nothing.
This is where a professor is important.
Exactly.
Professor is important. You could even study 40, 50-year-old syllabus. Okay, no problem.
Yeah.
But you should have excellent mentors. That is what is the main reason why I send all these 1,000 students every year to top Schengen public universities. As you rightly quoted, 1 year masters, it's like done.
Done.
I'm the only person, brother, entire India, open challenge, have not
Mm,
sent a single student for a 1 year technical program. Not only life sciences, for
mm,
any degree.
yeah.
See, you
Yeah.
cannot do anything and become successful. You have
Yeah.
to do some specific things for you to be
Yeah.
successful. And I stick to that
Exactly.
note. And that is why, these many number of success stories we have been creating day in and day out, basically. So
Correct.
then we spoke about examination, professors, and laboratories. These
Yes.
laboratories are, I know for sure, like, out of the world. So kindly talk. You could add some technical terms like the
Yeah.
apparatus name and all those things. Even I may not understand, but a life science student watching this will understand, because
Yeah.
there was a girl child. I cannot tell you the name of the university. It's
Mm,
in South India.
mm,
She said
mhm,
they collected a lot of fees in my university, but they do have certain apparatus in my
mm,
biotechnology lab,
mm.
but we are not allowed to touch it.
Oh.
Those are just used for showcase purpose. When parents and students come for admission, they just
Right.
show those things for the
Right.
sake of recruiting the student and do not
Right.
allow them to do any sort of experiments.
Ah,
And
that's very
nobody,
sad.
yeah, see, this is what is happening. And nobody will come to a social media and tell all these things to the younger generation other
Correct.
than Europe Study Center. So please talk to us about the laboratory facilities that you had at
Yeah.
Uppsala University.
Yeah. I mean, first of all, Uppsala University, such a big university with enormous funding, and it's
Huge.
directly from the government. The government funds Uppsala University, like they fund other universities. Since they have a lot of funding, again, we were able to get various complex instruments. For example, I would say we had one called as mass spectrometry. And we had so many such instruments, which are actually very expensive, millions and
Yes.
millions of dollars.
Yes. Yes.
But we were able to actually use that, and our professors actually encouraged us to use it. But at the same time, before we were directly going to use it, we were also taught about it again, so that we
Yes.
used it in the right way.
Yes.
Um, the labs were fully fledged with each and every instrument that the student needs, be it for a master's student or for a PhD student. And
Wow.
in fact, you were also given the opportunity that if you felt that no, this instrument would be a good addition to the lab, you were encouraged to pitch that idea to the professor. And if the professor also felt that,
Wow.
what if we have the good funding, let's bring it. And I actually pitched one of the instruments, and he actually felt that this could add a good addition to the lab. And we had something called as multi-spec, which helps us to identify certain unknown organisms, microbial, be it fungi or be it bacteria. We can identify certain organisms through that instrument. And it's a very simple instrument, but can identify various microbial life. So I had pitched that to my professor, and he was like, "We have some funding left, why not use that?" And he
He
brought the
got it?
instrument, and he
Wow.
got it. And that is why I love those labs, because you are encouraged to pitch your ideas
That
freely.
is why
And
that is why I love Schengen countries.
yes,
Selfless.
yes,
Selfless. That to an
exactly.
international student coming up with an idea, the professor buying the equipment, the people
Yeah,
watching these interviews. Do you think such an activity will happen in UK, US, Australia, New Zealand, Canada, and Ireland? Never. 99%
no,
never. See, that is why I always say, Prahlad, an educational institution should be non-commercial. If they look at
absolutely.
what is the money coming in and what is that I can spend, done and
Yeah,
dusted. An
exactly,
educational institution should be selfless. That is, they should always think what we can give to the student rather than
exactly.
what we can take from students. When
You
you
pointed out
study
very
in,
right.
yeah, see, when you study in institutions, what I
Yeah,
can take from the student, done.
yeah, that's
You did your master's in an institution where
yeah,
they wanted to give you basically meaning.
exactly.
And as
Yeah,
always, a non-commercial universities,
yeah,
50 percentage money comes from government,
exactly.
30 to 40 percentage comes from industries, and
Yes,
10 percentage to 15 percentage of the money comes from student. In
exactly.
fact, Prahalad, you will be surprised. I don't know if you know it. When I studied in Sweden, it was free.
Yes, I had heard of this. It
It
was
was
free.
free. My
Yeah,
father spent few lakhs and I finished my masters.
yeah, absolutely.
Maybe few years, they introduced this
Yeah,
tuition fees concept. That
yes,
also, I
very
I have
minimalistic.
I have no official information on this, but
Yeah,
I have heard it because I was there in Sweden working on all these things.
mm,
Many students misuse this free education,
yes,
just coming into the country, not studying.
yes.
They were
That was
forced to make the
mm,
tuition fees basically, and then
absolutely.
it got followed by Finland,
Yeah,
and then before I think first Denmark did it. I may be wrong also, but
mhm,
chronologically, but now
yeah,
all the Scandinavian countries started charging fees now. Denmark, Finland, Sweden, and
yeah,
Norway, basically.
yeah.
And also, people watching this interview would like to know, your accommodation. Did you stay in the
Mm,
university? And also your monthly living expenses in Uppsala when you were a
mm,
student.
yeah. So when I got the acceptance from the university, since we are international students and we are non-European students, Uppsala University gives us that opportunity that you can choose student accommodations. And so I was also given the offer letter to choose certain student accommodations which fitted my budget. And there was a wide range of student accommodations that you could choose from. So this was a nice gesture from the university as well, because actually not all students get this. Especially it is like if you're a European student, you do not get the accommodation from the university, but it's only for non-European students they give this accommodation. And the budget was actually within my means of living, and I was living in kind of around 4,000 Swedish crowns monthly for paying rent. And
Rent.
even my monthly expenses was very for groceries, and it was very affordable, even though I was living in the city center. So
Super.
because I was a student, they gave us a lot of discounts. And that is
Mm.
one thing that university always does, that if you're a student, you get so many discounts on
Oh,
everything. So that
yes.
that is very nice of the university. So that's
Excellent.
why I say, Swedish universities, they're very encouraging in that way.
Encouraging. And
Mm,
I don't want to say the names of those colleges in Sweden. I never promote them.
mm,
I
mm,
promote
mm.
only the universities.
Yeah.
KTH, Chalmers, Uppsala,
Yeah.
Lund,
Yeah.
Linköping,
Mm,
Gothenburg, Stockholm.
yeah.
These levels. That's it. Then I
Yeah.
change the country, not go,
Yeah.
behind when it comes to the
Yeah.
world rankings. Basically.
Mm.
So then, what was your final year project? Was it like funded or did you do it in a research institution? So talk to us about this because that's almost for 1 year. So which we need
Yes.
to talk.
Yeah. So basically, I did my 60 credit project, the 1 year project in Uppsala University itself in one of the research labs. It was mainly based on mycobacterium, which causes tuberculosis. Because in India, I had worked with tuberculosis. So I
Okay.
was so interested in this particular area. And I found a professor who was working on the very similar project. And so I pitched my idea that I wanted to study certain specific key factors of how this bacteria is able to evade our immune system. Because generally, when you get the bacteria, it
Yeah.
lives inside your own immune cells without the immune cells knowing that it's inside you. So
Oh,
it is very unique the way this bacteria lives. So I was trying to figure out how we can actually get the immune system to recognize that there is the bacteria inside of your system. So we got certain funding from the organizers as well, and from Uppsala University to do this project. I was not paid like stipend, but it was for the project that we got the
full
funding.
project.
Because I'm still a master's student, you do not
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
get like a stipend. So, but for the project, we got some funding. And
Super.
because we pitched this idea that the Uppsala University organizes, they love this, and we
And they
were
set up
able
everything.
to. Sorry.
And they set up
Yeah, they set
everything because it was a
yeah, they set
funded
up
project.
everything, all the instruments that we need and all the
Amazing.
every aspect of it. So when I started my project, it was a bit challenging in the beginning because we were trying to figure out where to start from because it's such a huge field where many people, many scientists are working in this area. So we needed to narrow down exactly what we want to achieve. So we started to go down to the genetic level where we really wanted to see what are the genes that are actually helping the bacteria in evading the immune system. So once we started to go there, we from there on we carried a lot of experiments in finding out how we can isolate this gene and make the immune system to learn. Actually, it's like training your immune system that okay, if this gene comes into your body, you have to fight against it. So we
Right.
tried to do that on various mouse models, and we achieved a certain level of our expectations. But again, to say, I know that I'm saying this in a very small way, but actually took 1 year to do that, because you need to create so many different variants of the mice as well to test your experiments. So once we did that, we reached a certain level of our expectations. And by that time, my 1 year got finished. But I stayed on for another additional few months just
Yeah,
to,
yeah. That's quite
complete
common,
the exactly.
especially with
And
the
then, yeah,
complexity of the project that you're doing.
yeah,
Taking few more months, it's no sin. As long as you are convinced with, yes, I have
yes.
documented this perfectly.
Exactly. So once we got our results that we were able to induce this immune response in the mice models, my project was done with that because the next stage is like to induce it in a bigger animal,
Bigger
like for
animal.
example monkeys or something like that.
Okay.
So then we documented all of this data. It was so much of data, so many
Yeah.
mathematical
How many
models.
pages was your master thesis?
It was actually around 150 pages or to 200
There we
pages,
go. There we
honestly.
go. There we go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because
I think
so many
references
models, so
at the
much of
back.
writing.
Yeah. At the end of your master thesis, I guess there would be at least 5 to 10 pages of references.
Oh, yes, easily more than 10 pages. Because you need to take so many research papers. It's like at least you read a minimum of 100 to 200 research papers.
Easily,
Minimum.
right? Easily. Such the
Easily.
complex activity
Yeah, because
project.
you need to pick up different ways in which they have performed different experiments, and you need to build your experiment. So
Boys
it's
and
like,
girls, yeah, boys and girls, the young life science aspirants, listen to what Prahalad said. And even in this interview, you could see like how calm and composed he is, focused and clarity in all the replies he gives. And patience is very, very important. People who are impatient, who wants results like this, life science is not your cup of tea, my dear friends. Maybe you can find something else. I'm not demotivating you because life science has
yeah,
certain level of calmness, precision, and mentally, physically, you should
patience.
be always fresh. Patience, very importantly,
Yes.
patience.
Yeah.
So then
I
now
mean, many people
coming,
told me, why don't you choose engineering? Why don't you choose medicine? I was like, no, I want
we
to do
should
this.
say, yeah, we should say to them, why don't you keep quiet for some time?
Uh,
This is what it is. And
exactly.
nowadays, 90-95% of them only studying computer science in Tamil, South India right now, only
Yeah.
computer science. And by the way,
Yeah.
it's a golden time for other departments, including food technology, biotechnology. All these people, literally
Absolutely.
no students, brother. So
Exactly.
it's a golden time for them to accelerate much faster
Yeah.
with lesser competition. So
Yeah.
then,
Show your
after
talent.
your
That's the main thing.
exactly, you have the skill set, you exhibit it, then done. So then,
Yeah.
coming to the interesting topic, and you had both the options. You were applying for PhD on jobs parallelly, or how was it actually?
Yeah, actually, you're right. I was having two options at the same time, trying
Yes.
to for a PhD and for an industry, because I was quite interested in both of them. And actually, I did not know about industries until I came to Uppsala, because I was more into like, okay, I want to do a PhD.
PhD.
But then once I started to see that in Uppsala, so there's a particular department called as Sci Life Labs. So these labs are very unique labs wherein different universities in Sweden. They come together. That's the
Wow.
only time that all the universities come together. They pool all their resources, money, all the resources, and they created this lab called a SciLife Lab, which is
Wow.
actually industry oriented, but also at the same time research oriented.
Both.
So both, it's unique. Like for example, Uppsala University, Lund University, all the other different universities, they come together to pool in the resources, and it is actually supported by the Swedish government as well. So that was actually a way in which you could also find your interest in industries and in research. So when I started to talk to people in that area, and when I saw that they're doing some unique work, I felt, I want to be in that kind of an area, maybe industry or PhD. So that is when I was like, I was trying for both PhD and the industries. A PhD was a bit tougher to get in that moment of time. I'm not going to lie,
That moment.
because it is a bit tough, especially since I moved out of my lab. It is a bit tough to get into the PhD. And also at the same time, I was thinking to myself, I have to make a choice here, because they say that, and I have also felt now that I'm in the industry, if you are doing a PhD and if you are there for the long run in being in the academia, you want to dedicate your life entirely to the research, then I would say doing a PhD is much, much better. But if you want to be in the industry, I would say that try to go into the industry at a very early age as well, because when you are in the industries, you are able to build your experience. You're using the knowledge that you have, because certain roles, yes, certain roles do ask for a PhD in the industries, but at the same time, if you are already in the industry at a very young age, you are able to build your reputation and also your experience. So that's when I decided, okay, let's slowly start to focus more on industries, which is also research based. It's not just completely industry.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So, for example, I mean, we can talk more about the AstraZeneca side, but that is something that is kind of both research and industry based. So
Yes.
that's why I was like, okay, let's go for this particular line.
Wonderful. And I
Yeah.
guess, I'm just thinking because
Mm,
I would say hardly one or two students I would have met who got into top MNCs after their
mm,
masters in life sciences.
yeah.
Okay. It's always, they have started to work in big, big companies or top research
Yes.
institutions only after their
Yeah.
PhD. I guess
Yeah.
in your case, you have two different unique points. This
Yes.
is your second master's. You've already spent 7 years in studies, basically.
Yes.
Is one. That is
That's a
one.
lot.
That is
Yeah.
one. Secondly, you did 1 year thesis.
Yes.
Because audience should not think, okay,
Mm,
I will also finish a master's and apply for a job and get it like Prahalad. I'm not telling here you will not get it or you will get it. I'm nobody to say that. But I'm
mm.
just telling you the difference in your profile compared to
Yes.
others. Maybe
Exactly.
these are all the
Yeah.
strong points which AstraZeneca felt you are a best
Yes.
fit and took
Yes.
you into it even without a PhD.
Absolutely, you're absolutely right.
Thank you.
Because uh, I can give you a short journey. Like before I went into AstraZeneca itself, I was actually working in other small startups here, because Sweden actually supports a lot of startups. So I was working in these small startups where I could actually pitch my ideas, gain more experience, and based on that, from what experience that I had, I tried to pitch the same to AstraZeneca. And that's when they saw that since I have experience and education at the back, uh, they took me in. And I'm not trying to, just say it here, but actually, right now in my group, I'm the only one who has two masters. So
Exactly.
nobody else has even one master's. It's like
Yes.
that. So
Yes.
because in Sweden they focus more on your talent and everything. So that's why it's like I would
Yeah.
say you have to make a choice what you want to do at the same time.
And it also depends on what you get it. And I'm sure
Exactly.
if this job thing was not happening, you would have tried hard on your PhD and
Yeah.
secured it because there are like
Yeah.
29 Schengen countries. And with an Uppsala degree to enter
Yeah.
into a PhD, wouldn't have been a much of a struggle,
No.
basically. If not in
No.
Sweden, there are plenty of other
There's so
countries.
many countries. Yes.
Yes, so many countries. Wonderful. So, when
Yeah.
did you apply for AstraZeneca and how did the interview go? and all these things? And
So
what
yeah,
designation
I
you're
mean,
working?
so basically, after Uppsala University, I started to work in small startups, which were actually based on life science and treating and diagnosing different illnesses. Especially this started during the COVID time.
Yeah, yeah.
My
I saw that. Yeah.
yes.
I was about to
So
ask that because I saw you started your job something like 2020 or something. That was the
exactly.
kickstart of COVID.
COVID. So, I mean, in a way, it was kind of a lucky thing because I'm also into the life science and
Life science
microbiology. So, they were able to recruit more people at that time who
at
could,
that time
you know,
for the
use the
research and
talent.
to solve the problem. Yeah.
Exactly. Absolutely. And I started to go into these small startups which wanted our experience in building diagnostic therapies and also diagnosis for different illnesses, including COVID. So when I started to gain more experience in that, one of the startups was called as ABC Labs, which helped me in gaining more experience in how we can diagnose COVID and how we can diagnose different illnesses. From there, I moved on to another group called as Eurofins, which is mainly in Europe. They also help in diagnosing different problems, be it environmental infections or any other type of infections in our body. So I was able to build certain new technologies, and I'm happy to say that one of the new technologies that I was a part in was called as non-invasive prenatal testing, wherein we are able to detect the sex of the baby and also any chromosomal abnormalities at just 10 weeks of age. So that was very, very brand new technology that I was a part of it.
Wow. Within 10
So
weeks.
in 10 weeks, you can detect everything just by taking blood. You don't have to do biopsy, nothing. So just by
Nothing.
taking mother's blood, you can
It's like
detect
a
all
magic.
of
And you could
exactly.
say
It's
how healthy the child is if everything is perfect.
Yeah, you can also say through those testings that you can say how your child looks like, or looks like as in terms of health, how healthy the baby is, and also if the baby has certain chromosomal abnormalities.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And also what is it, a boy or a girl? You can even say all of those things. So it uses next generation sequencing. So that is what we brought in.
For me, for me, you sound like a life science magician.
Thank you. Uh, I mean, I'm so happy that I was a part of that group because it was
Man,
just four people in that group. So,
man,
it
you
was
know what?
something
The major reason for your success, you right really enjoy what you do.
that is the most important
You
thing
are
in life.
enjoying. You don't have to say that. I could feel it. We are sitting at least 10,000 miles apart. I don't know how many our
Yeah.
kilometers. That's okay. But I could feel. And here, what's
Yeah.
happening right now? People study XYZ department and work in XYZ department. And when
Correct.
Monday comes, they dream of Friday.
Yeah.
And when Friday comes, they fear
Yeah.
of Monday. Life over.
Yeah. I mean, like
And
that
I'm
360
sure,
days is
and
finished.
I'm sure if AstraZeneca or some company says we have only 15 days, it's a very critical problem. We have to work
Yeah.
almost, most of the times without holidays and finish this up, and you will be up for the challenge with a cup
Yeah,
of a coffee,
actually,
and
I'm going
answer
to
like
come to
I'm
that
game.
part. I will come to that part because you brought that up. There was an incident just last week.
Of course, there will be
So
like especially like company
yeah,
like AstraZeneca, things and challenges and
yeah,
opportunities comes in every day in and day out. So when did you tell us about your selection process into AstraZeneca
yeah.
and what is your current designation right now?
After I finished in Eurofins, I started to apply for AstraZeneca because AstraZeneca was something that I always dreamt of. I used to pass by
Yeah,
that a lot of times, and I always used to wonder that I would one day want to get in there. And I had
absolutely.
first tried for AstraZeneca. It did not happen in the first try, and then again I had to work in another place. But then when the second opportunity came, I applied through LinkedIn and this time I made sure that I write my CV in a much appealing way and also my cover letter because I know for a fact that here in Sweden they read everything. They have the patience to sit and read all
Yes,
of your cover
yes,
letters and your CV because
yes,
they want
yes.
the best candidates who can support their work.
Exactly.
So I started to make my CV and my cover letter more interesting. And also, I had kind of had this connection with the manager earlier. So I said, you know what, I want to give it another try. And I wrote to him personally as well. And he had another interview with me. And it was like, I would say, 4 rounds of interview, where it was like the first round was general talk. And then the second round was about my presentation, what I was. And that time it was also with a higher up, like the director. And the third was with the HR, because the HR also wanted to see how I am able to solve problems. One thing I would like to add in this is that in Sweden, when you're talking to the managers, they want to see how well you are able to think. It's not just what you have learned, but they would give you a problem and they say, how can you solve this? They just want to see your thinking. So that's when the
Exactly.
HR was also there.
And they
Yeah.
just want to know whether you're going to be the guy who's going to solve problems for us, or you're going to be the guy who's going to create problems for us. That's it. They just want
Exactly.
answer.
Absolutely. That the thing.
Please
And then
continue.
yeah, the fourth one was mainly like a written test, and not subject related test, but it's aptitude test.
Hmm.
Again, to think how you think. So the written was very easy, so that was aptitude. So once I did all of that, and they felt that I am a good fit based on my experience and my education, they called me to the lab. Yeah.
I think after they finished all the tests, they thought for themselves, why did I even reject this guy before? That's what they would have been thinking.
Sometimes I have thought of that actually.
Yes, I could feel it. Please
Yeah.
continue.
They brought me to the lab, and they showed around AstraZeneca and all the different labs that they have. And then actually my manager and I said, they asked me, so do we have a deal? In a fun way, he was like, do we have a deal now? I was like,
Yeah.
absolutely. And we shook hand on that, and then we accepted. I got my contract and everything. It was a good pay, so I was happy with the pay and the leave and
Super.
everything.
Super.
So here they give you such generous leave here that you take, and you have, and it's in fact they tell you have to take leave.
Super.
That is nice, for a person to encourage.
Since you said the pay aspect, uh,
Yeah.
there was a comment in my YouTube channel, a parent
Mm-hmm.
congratulating us for
Mm-hmm.
all the works we have done. But
Mm-hmm.
she put in a line in why in any of the interviews you don't ask the students how much they are earning. Then I say, first of all, why should I even ask them what they are earning? That is not the objective of doing these
Yeah.
interviews. Oh, my
Yeah.
student is earning this much. You go to Sweden, study in Uppsala, you will also earn this much. What rubbish, brother.
No.
What sort of ideology? None of the interviews, I never talk
Yeah.
about it. I will ask you questions about how was the interview, how
Yeah.
was AstraZeneca, what you're doing
Yeah.
right now. Tell us something to my young boys and girls. This and all we will talk, because
Yeah. Exactly.
then only I understood there are some people in abroad education domain doing one or two interviews here and there. Their interviews like, oh, did you study in UK and now you are earning 70 lakhs? Wow, amazing. You also want to study in UK and earn 70 lakhs? Contact me. You just
No,
don't know.
that's what I would say. It's not, of course, pay is important for your survival, but at the
Yes.
same time, it's not always about money. The main thing is, many people think, even I have felt that many people ask me as well. But the thing is, I think it's an innate response in India that many people associate you to the money you earn.
Yes.
So I have felt that a lot of times, and
And
I feel you cannot associate a person to what money they earn.
exactly.
So you cannot always say, yeah, okay, I earn this much, okay, now I'm settled. No, you
No,
always
what
go
is
up slowly.
that's it.
Yeah,
I never believe in the word life is settled. What settled? Tomorrow everything could be wiped off. We all
yeah,
know what
exactly,
happened in pandemic. It switched at the reset button for everybody.
absolutely.
Yes. And as Ben, as long as you enjoy what you're doing, you have a stress-free life, you are able to take care of yourself, your
Yeah,
parents, and the loved ones around you. What else you want in life, man? Nothing,
yeah.
nothing else basically. So, what's your designation at AstraZeneca, and what are your current roles and responsibilities with them?
Okay. Right now, I'm a specialist quality control in microbiology. So, wherein we deal with all the different products, mainly syringes or the injections or the
Okay.
vials products that we get. So
Yes, yes,
we
yes.
deal with biologics, wherein this part of AstraZeneca is highly funded, also because of the complexity of the products we release. Because these products go directly into the bloodstream than the tablets you take. Because the tablets, what you take is digested and then slowly released into your
Yes,
body.
yes,
But
yes,
these
yes, yes,
ones
yes.
are so
Correct.
highly, it's direct into your bloodstream. It can either heal you or kill you. It's like that.
Only
So
two options.
only two options. So that's why we are held at high responsibilities. And what I specialize in is doing different analysis in testing the products, and also at the same time overlooking the production team, wherein whatever they produce, or if there is any deviations, or if we have some small problems or any problems that the production team has, we help them out in solving those problems. So there has been a lot of always in work there is always ups and downs, and especially in production with such complexities, you have to be very careful in what you're touching or how you are carrying yourself into such areas. We wear so many gowns and everything before you go into that certain areas. So I would say that when we also teach new people when they're coming into these production teams how to be responsible. So we deal with a lot of aspects of microbial, but at the same time production based work as well. So I am also involved with the deviations meetings, where if there is any deviations, we talk to the general manager and we see how we can solve them. So it's a lot of different roles, I would say.
Small, I would not say a small, a decision that you
Yeah.
took from your, I will go to Sweden for my second master's, and looking back with all this wealth of experience and joining the number one firm and
Yes.
teaching the younger minds, the juniors or anybody joining into this particular department. Man, you have crossed, in between the pandemic stage also, it actually
Yeah.
you use that, this is what we call it as crisis based opportunity. Even a crisis, you change it as an opportunity. That is why,
Absolutely.
young professionals like you have to be at the right place at the right time for you to
Yes.
grab these opportunities and know better than heaven for
Yes.
a
Exactly.
for a life science student, which is Sweden.
Exactly. I would
Excellent.
also say that it comes with certain challenges. It's not always rosy. People think that, oh, you're abroad, it's so rosy outside, you're enjoying. No, abroad life is actually a
Yeah.
bit, challenging. It's not all rosy here.
Yes,
So
and I
you
have
you have
told
to
it
do.
exactly, brother. And I've told it in thousands of times in my interviews. Not
Yeah.
all my students succeeded, but those who
Yeah.
worked hard, those who focused, those who
Yeah.
ignored all these part-time jobs, focused on the task, completed the professor's instruction and assignments on time, somehow or the other they will somehow make it big. It's only a
Yeah.
matter of time.
You should have the willpower to succeed. That's it.
Positivity, brother. You have to be,
Yes.
first of all, positive. In India, what is the problem now, brother? One guy tries something, he could not succeed. Okay,
Yes.
1,000 people will stop that particular activity.
Yeah.
And if somebody tries something, he succeed, immediately
Yeah.
10 people will follow him. This is the
Absolutely.
problem, because other success or failure cannot
Yeah.
define or contribute to your decision making process.
Correct. You're so spot on. And I can give you one example from what you said, that when I was
Please.
coming from Mysore University, and also when I wanted to go abroad, many people were so reluctant to actually go abroad at that point of time in 2018 as well. I was probably the only one from that department who went abroad. And people were so shocked. Oh, you're going to Sweden. Nobody in that department even thought of going abroad at that point of time. I was the only lone sheep. Like, I was like, I want to do something different. Usually I try to follow what my heart says. And that's when I was like, no, I want to go abroad. And of course, with the help of Europe Studies Center, I was so much focused that I am going to go. And once I got it, people started, then I got more calls. People started asking, where did you go? What are you doing? Can you please help us? And then, people started moving out.
And that's why I always tell people, or my students or anybody asking me any sort of questions, whether I should do this, do that, why should I do this? Then I said, when
Yeah.
you go to a football match or a cricket match, there are two sets of people. One who just sit and watch. They don't have
Yeah.
to do anything. And the
Mm.
players, they have to do hell a lot of things. So you decide,
Ex-
you want to be a spectator clapping hands or get into it and play the game. You decide. For you to clap,
Yeah.
nothing much is required. Just survive your life. That's it. For you to be a
Exactly.
player, you have to do exceptional things. You have to be
Yeah.
confident, fit enough, mentally, physically, so many things. That is why people come to watch you. I mean, why should a
Yeah.
recruiter recruit a student? Why? Because you
Exactly.
play well. In your case, you had the knowledge and you work in AstraZeneca. And even if you tell a, 18, 19-year-old,
Mm.
aspiring life science student, everybody knows AstraZeneca, especially after COVID,
Exactly.
it's so famous.
Exactly. That's why I
Super.
try to encourage students, try to think a little different, don't always stick to the same thing.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I want kids, to study biology. I want kids to study computer science. Few students studying microbiology, few students studying mechatronics, few studying chemical, few studying aerospace. It should be a holistically everything based on their
Absolutely.
interest, provided it has the job opportunities. And you could watch my Instagram page. I think
Mm.
5, 6 videos or sixth, seventh reel.
Mhm.
I posted a video. Biotechnology students should be mentally prepared for a
Yeah.
PhD. If not, think twice before taking a biotechnology.
Mm.
Several lakhs of views. Everybody tagging their friends. In Tamil, they post like, Macham pocha,
Yeah.
நம்ம எங்கடா PhD படிக்கிறது? Then there are other girl. Sir, you are
Uh,
100% spot on. I did my
uh,
bachelor's, silver medalist.
yeah.
Master's, gold medalist, 9.03 CGPA, currently
Mm.
unemployed when I was typing this comment.
Uh,
So when I did that, and doing this interview, really happy. Lastly,
yeah.
last two more questions. And how
Mhm.
happy your parents are right now?
They're very happy. The first time when they actually heard that I got in Sweden, that was the first true happiness I could see in them. That they were like I cannot put in words the joy. It's emotional, and they were also so happy that okay, because I'm the only son for them. I don't have siblings, so
Okay.
that's why
So
they
precious.
really. Yeah, they were like really happy that okay, we are sending our son abroad, and he's doing what he likes to do. So I could see them so happy, and then they've also seen me struggle a little bit. They were so supportive at that point, but then when I came back up again to AstraZeneca, and when I said that I got this offering at AstraZeneca, they were so happy, and
Super.
that's when after I got the offering in AstraZeneca, they came to Sweden all the way. And I also took them to AstraZeneca and I showed them, look, this is what I wanted to make you proud.
Audience, this is success. I cannot define success more than this. Okay. Making your parents proud, and taking into a world renowned company and making them, come to your workplace. I guess, man, you have achieved it. You have nailed it. Wonderful. One thing I wanted
Thank
to
you so
ask
much.
you, are there any PhD plans in your mind?
Yeah, slightly. It is still kicking in there,
You're still kicking
but
in.
we
Okay.
shall see.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
You will always keep your cards open, and one fine day
yeah.
you see you really
The
like this
offering
particular
comes.
topic
Yeah.
and that has a lot of scope and it
Yes.
worth involving your next 3 years. Why not? And
Yeah,
in
absolutely.
our part
Always
two of this
open to
interview,
opportunities.
in the
Yes.
part two of this interview, if we do it after 10 years, we will talk about your PhD too. It will be a small part.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Excellent. Now, currently, in which visa you are in? Work visa or PR? What is that?
I'm currently towards the end of my work visa. So after that, I get my permanent residency.
Super,
Yeah.
super,
Yeah.
amazing, excellent,
That's,
great.
thank you.
And before we sum up, it
Mhm.
is one of the longest interviews I did, and
Oh,
I learned a lot of things, and I had so much to ask you. Usually I finish it plus or minus 1 hour. It's almost like 75 minutes, and it was
oh.
a wealth of experience. And I'm going to put the title: "Don't join biotechnology before watching this interview." No, because I want
Yeah,
them to know what they are going to get exposed to, what they are going
absolutely.
to face basically. So before we sum up this beautiful interview, any last few points for the young life science aspirants? Prahalad.
I would always say follow where your heart takes you. That is the first thing that is very important. Be disciplined in what you want to do. And especially if you want to pursue your career in life science, I would say there is always enormous opportunities in Europe, in Sweden. Do not always follow the crowd. That is the most important. That my mother taught me as well. Be
Yes.
unique, be yourself,
Yes.
and just follow your heart. And there is always opportunities in life science, be it in any part of life science, microbiology, biochemistry, anything. So try different horizons. Always be open to everything. So I think with that, I would just sum up everything what I have
Amazing.
learned in these years.
Thank you so much. And with your permission, I would like to thank Uppsala University, you know, uh,
Absolutely.
creating these sort of, fantastic out of the world experiences during from my study days or even study time before me. And there used to
Mm.
be this main building, with all these staircases, the white building with those pillars,
Yes.
that's the main building at Uppsala.
Uh,
When I first saw that, I
it-
was like, wow, super. Amazing.
Yeah,
Thank
I
you.
was in awe as well, especially when I got my graduation ceremony in the big hall.
Yeah.
My mother saw that photo and she almost had tears in her eyes. So I was like, yeah,
Life is once, brother. Whatever we could make it big, and when we have the opportunities to do it, blindly do it rather than sitting and fearing or repenting later. No point. That's why I always say, life is once, my dear friends. Pack your bags, travel, and explore. That is what we wish to say.
you summed up so well, actually, I should say that.
Thank you.
And
Thank you
also, I
so
would
much.
like to thank Europe Study Center because this is something
Honored.
that I wouldn't be here if it was not for Europe Study Center. I mean,
Thank you.
honestly, I would say. And
Thank
all the people who have helped me, I really give a big thanks to every single person,
Thank you so much.
like, yeah.
I will never forget this interview because I learned a lot of things. I
Yeah.
basically admired the level of your calmness and composure. I'm sure if you could do this in the interview when you're working in AstraZeneca like a company, during your
Yeah,
work time, I feel this will be like n times more the focus
absolutely.
and your calm
Yeah.
and composedness. Thank you so much.
Thank you so
Okay,
much.
wish you
Yes,
best wishes and convey our regards to your family members. And when I make a visit to Sweden, we'll meet for a coffee for sure. Okay.
definitely. I'll take you for fika.
Sure.
Yeah,
Wonderful. Sure.
sure.
Thank you.
Thank you
Take
so
care.
much. Thank you.
Bye bye.
Take
Bye bye.
Bye bye.